Today I'm going to go over all the boxers and UFC fighters and anyone who has a problem with Jake Paul's success and his upcoming fight with Mike Tyson. Jake has also challenged all these people to fights who I'm going to go over, and they all declined. We're going to start with Conor McGregor. Jake wanted to fight Conor McGregor. McGregor's always running his mouth. And Conor, he's too busy doing cocaine or trying to sexually assault girls in the bathroom to take a huge payday to get in the ring with Jake Paul. Sounds like a coward to me.
Tyson stock. That's what I think. Don't give a bollocks. They're wearing 14-ounce gloves. It's 2-minute rounds, is it? Is it 2-minute rounds? Who gives a bollocks? I hope Mike rattles a little dope. No one gives a fuck about him. How is that even in the fucking in Dallas Stadium? What's going on? Thoughts on Tyson, Jake?
That little dope, Conor, that little dope would knock you unconscious. You wouldn't last more than a round. What Jake Paul did to Mike Perry, he would destroy you in less time. So, everybody blames Jake Paul. Oh, he doesn't fight anybody. He fights old men and everybody that's washed up and this and that. He tries to fight guys in their prime like Conor. Conor won't take the fight. Jake Paul said he'd give Conor like $50 million to fight him, and Conor won't fight him. I wonder why. Because Conor knows he'd get knocked out 2 rounds. Excuse me. Let's go to the next fighter, Canelo.
Jake Paul getting in there versus Mike Tyson. Does it interest you, and how do you see that fight going down in July?
Not at all. Not at all.
Not really, not even interested.
No, nothing.
Do you think it's good for boxing, not good for boxing? No. A lot of people think that Netflix is good for boxing.
I think Netflix is good for boxing, but at that special fight, I think Netflix is doing something wrong there.
Oh.
I think Netflix being involved, yes, is good, but no in that kind of fights.
Oh,
I think.
Exactly. See, Canelo, Mr. Greedy here, he only wants Netflix involved in fights that he's in or the promotion that he's in. He doesn't want a third party like Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson getting paid huge money by Netflix. But it's okay for his organization to do it. Hey, Canelo, you always say that Jake Paul would be easy work. I would dismantle him in 1 round. Easiest check ever. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Then fight him. Jake Paul has said he's wanted to fight you. You said no. But then in the same breath, you'll bash him for fighting UFC guys or somebody like Mike Tyson that's older, but you won't get in the ring with him. You won't get in the ring with him, Canelo. You're guaranteed. He even said he'd pay you $100 million, and you still said no. Why is that, Canelo? Why is that? Because you know as a boxer and a fighter that anybody can get clipped. And if Jake Paul clipped you, your career would be over. You would never live it down. See, just like how you duck Benavidez, you're ducking Jake Paul.
Is more show than a fight.
And he wins his last fight, and he of course calls you out, and then 2 days later he's fighting a near 60-year-old Mike Tyson.
Yeah. At this point, I'm not interested in that kind of fights. I always try.
Like, I love the announcer the interviewer mocking Jake Paul. He calls out Canelo. Canelo said no after Jake offered him literally $100 million. So nobody wants to jump in the ring with Jake. Jorge Masvidal, when he was in his prime, none of those UFC guys wanted to get in the ring with Conor. Nobody. He's offered Conor big money. Conor won't jump in there. Andrew Tate talks all this garbage. He's a gangster. He's a G. No, you're a human trafficker and a pedo, and you like teenage girls, but you won't fight Jake Paul for $20 million. You'll stick to scamming. So Canelo's full of it. Hey, Canelo, if it's the easiest payday ever, then get in the ring with Jake Paul, and he wouldn't have to fight 58-year-old Tyson. Another hypocrite. Next guy we're going to jump into, what Andrew Tate has to say about fighting Jake Paul.
I made the video. I really dislike Jake Paul. Now I don't dislike him. I understand him. I want to make something clear. I would still kick the living fuck out of Jake Paul.
It's typical trying to be a master manipulator, Tate. You would kick the F out of Jake Paul. He offered you $20 million to get in the ring, and you said, it's not worth my time unless you paid me $200 million. Now you'll fight him any day of the week, and I'll kick the F out of him. He would knock you out cold in less than 2 rounds, pedo. Big tough guy, human trafficker. See, this is what I mean. All these guys talk about Jake Paul, right? Oh, I'll beat the F out of him, but they won't get in the ring with him. They won't fight him. And they're offered big money. And at the same time, then everybody will bash Jake Paul when somebody like Mike Tyson says, hey, F it, I'll sign the contract. I'll take that big payday. Nobody forced Mike Tyson to sign the contract. So why is everybody mad at Jake Paul? Another clown. I can't stand Andrew Tate. Prison can't come soon enough, but this is what he does. He twists everything, the Mac Daddy G, who's a god, and nobody can beat him up. Jake Paul would knock you out cold. Jake Paul just destroyed Mike Perry, and Mike Perry would drop you in less than a minute.
Mm-hmm. I'm not some washed up UFC fighter. I'm not smaller than him. I would beat the living shit out of him. And if he wants to fight, I'll fight him any day of the week, and I'll fucking wreck him.
Sure,
he
you
knows
would.
That. However, I do understand what he's doing. I understand that he is very, very smart, even with his marketing angle.
Oh, yeah, I do understand him. I'm the smartest man alive. I know everything. What do you mean you understand him? He said, Jake Paul said he'll give you $20 million to fight. And you said, I'll show the video in a minute. Oh, it ain't worth my time to even get out of bed unless he offers me $200 million. You know what that sounds like to me? You're scared because he'll break your jaw and knock you out cold. But you'd rather scam 13-year-olds online for money.
I'm just a YouTuber. You're not just a YouTuber. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who's dedicated his life to learning how to box for years. You know how to box. You're not a complete amateur. You know how to box very well.
Oh, yeah.
3, 4, 5 years of training combat sports. You can box. The guy's not a jackass. When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now,
I can't even stomach this dude. Jake Paul would knock him unconscious, probably bring him back down to reality. When Jake Paul knocked out Andrew Tate, you know what had happened? He would go to the police station and tell himself, yes, I am a human trafficker. Yes, I am a pedo. Yes, I am a scammer. Please take me to prison. I feel bad for all my crimes. That's how bad Jake Paul would beat him.
I'm going to fight Mike Tyson on Netflix.
Yeah. Would you fight Mike Tyson? There's no amount of money on the planet that could convince me to fight Mike Tyson. Prime Tyson would have ripped me apart in a boxing match. I'm not a boxer. Perhaps if I was a boxer and I was heavier, maybe I can make up a bunch of stories. But the truth is I'm a kickboxer and it's his rule set and he was Mike Tyson. He would have beaten me, so to beat him when he's past his prime just feels dishonorable and I'd feel dirty for doing that.
I'm going to fight.
More nonsense from Andrew Tate. He would feel dirty for doing that, for knocking out Mike Tyson. First of all, he would knock you out. Second of all, you would feel dirty. Do you feel dirty dating underage girls and stealing their money along with young men's money that's like they're like 15 years old? But this is what I mean with all these guys talking all this garbage about Jake Paul, that they would fight him, but they make every excuse in the world not to fight him.
Beneath you, though. If you're as rich as you are, you got the status, why would you want to go fight Jake Paul?
Yeah, so I made that video when he first called out Conor McGregor because I thought he was being disrespectful.
How is that beneath him? Jake Paul's pretty fucking
big. Jake Paul's big. Jake Paul's pretty big, but I think that Conor McGregor...
Yeah, Jake Paul's pretty big. He's not bigger than me. I'm Andrew Tate. I have to human traffic teenage girls. I can't find the video, but there's another video of Andrew Tate saying it would take $200 million for him to fight Jake Paul. And you know what? Jake isn't making up like stories and saying outlandish things to fight people. He's saying, I want to fight this guy. I want to fight that guy. I want to fight him. He's not doing anything out of the ordinary. And what all these internet gangsters do, like Andrew Tate, they make up excuses not to fight him. Conor McGregor, why don't you want to fight him? You know why? Because you'll get knocked out in one round. Andrew Tate won't fight him. Canelo won't fight him. You know why? Because they will all lose. That's why. Easy payday, but they don't want to fight him.
If I brought up Jake Paul, pretty much everybody in the room and the other room wants to see Jake Paul get knocked out. So you're hoping, you got the reason why you hope Tyson would pull this off. Or
Did you help set that up? Because I know you're close with Tyson.
God, no. When this fight happens, Tyson will be 58 years old.
I'm worried about him.
Under any circumstances, almost 60-year-old man shouldn't be fighting a 27-year-old guy, even if it's Mike Tyson. So my biggest problem with the Jake Paul thing is, and how this plays out, is when he actually fought.
No, his biggest problem with it is this. He knocked out Mike Perry. He beat up Nate Diaz. Knocked out Tyrone Woodley. He beat Anderson Silva. So when all of Dana's guys are losing to a so-called YouTuber and Disney kid, it makes Dana look bad. Like, are you running a real organization here? That's his biggest problem with it. And Dana knows that boxing is corrupt as hell. They gave that win to Fury, John Fury, whatever his name is, Tyson's little brother, because if he takes boxing seriously, that promotion wants to promote him as an undefeated fighter. He got a gift. Dana's just mad because it makes all Dana's guys look bad when Jake Paul is knocking all his guys out, and then his top guys who are still in their prime, like Connor, like Masvidal, like all those guys, they don't want to fight Jake because they know they'll lose. That's why Dana has a big problem with it. Plus, Jake calls him out for underpaying all the fighters.
Fought somebody who was a boxer, who had the same type of record he has, who is his age,
Tommy,
and who is his size. He lost. If I brought up Jake Paul, pretty much
this will be the last one. You know what all these guys hate? Eddie Hearn, Dana, the boxing world, the UFC world, is that Jake Paul is a third party making huge money, and he's challenging those other organizations, and he's knocking those guys out. You can't blame Jake Paul for fighting an older Mike Tyson when all the cowards in boxing and UFC don't want to fight him. Hey, Canelo, why don't you want to fight Benavidez? A guy that's a so-called professional boxer like you. You know why? Because you're scared that he's going to knock you out, just like Jake Paul would.